nothing displayed for you to rely on, so you won't have that skill visible. So we saw before that when I had when we had I'll just save that again. So I've now created columns 4, and the only thing I need to do is change the number of repeating columns, change it to 4 from 3. And now every instance where that's applied, every instance where this style has been applied, will show content in 4 columns. And because 16, not 15, 16 is divisible by 4, we should end up with did I not load the HTML yet? That's not load the HTML. Okay, so you're seeing that this is a work in progress. Mistakes will be made, if you can bear with them. Oh, now because I've gone to 4 columns. Here we go. This is what you can see. So where we've ended up with a larger, we've ended up with a larger trait name. It won't fit on one line. But this, hey, well, at least this shows you that my float top, what is it, start top, pushes all the blocks themselves up. I don't like how that's come out. But that's why, that's why we're actually going to go with 2 columns that show 5 skills apiece when you actually pick them. So if I change this again, if I change this to a 2, yeah, I've coded in the 4. We'll still keep that. Who knows? Maybe there's another application for that. But I want to code that down to 2 now, and we'll just end up with a longer list with 2 columns of 8 skills. So let's just get those sandbox tools back up and load the Paranoia Character Sheet back in, and you'll see. I mean, you'll see, as you have done already, that I'm a bit of a Muppet, but there you go, 2 columns of 8 rows. And each one of these has a field to the left already styled to match the ones that I've got up here. There's a tiny little bit of padding between them, and I can assign values to this. Now, the values that are assigned to these skills are, and we'll just skip across to the plans for here. So you end up with 5 D4s, 2 D6, 2 D8, and a D10. So let's put those in. So just giving the values from the top. 2 8s, 2 6s, and 5 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could start putting in some code now. I'm not going to, but I could start putting in some code now which specifies if these values aren't filled, if you don't have a value in one of these boxes, then it won't show the skill. At that point, we can rejig what's showing and what's not. But there you are. So that's the next block there. Again, hopefully you're seeing that actually putting in some fairly straightforward, yeah, okay, there's complexity when it comes to HTML, but fairly straightforward HTML, and then using the pro subscription custom character sheets feature, you're able to do this. Now, at the minute, I'm using the sandbox to upload content, but maybe this video, maybe a future video, I will actually stop and show how you use the custom settings for character sheets in Roll20. At the present, we're just doing dev time, so I'm just trying to find out that what I'm coding is actually working. As you saw, sometimes it wasn't. Right, okay, so that's that set of attributes there. Then what? What will we get up to next? This has been about 45 minutes. I'm going to give you a few more minutes. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit, but let's see. What have we styled? We've styled the 1, 2, 3, and 4 column layouts. So I'll get that off my to-do list. Mush up the character name. Yeah, I still want to do that, but I wanted to look into whether or not I can append attributes together into append attributes, append traits. Get this right, Mike. Append traits into one. So can I get the name, security clearance, the you know what? I'm gonna get trickier. That's the next thing I do. Security name, security clearance, sector, and clone number. Can I then append those together into another field? But that's a research thing, so I'm going to leave that alone. And I have created boxes for the treasons and the stress, and also applied that to specialties as well, because that's all on the trait style here. Okay, so one of the things I want to do with this character sheet is control some of the style based on your security clearance. So, if you'll bear with me, we're going to get tricky. Copy that. I am going to put an additional instance of the attribute security clearance at the top of the character sheet. I'm going to drop the placeholder text, as that's going to serve no purpose. I'm going to change the type to hidden, and that, if I show you that in action, so I'm going to save that with type text. You're going to start to see some of the tricks that I'm going to play with Roll20. So all I'm showing you here at the minute is that before I put hidden into the type, you can see the R for security clearance. So I will change that to hidden, and now that'll be gone. But why am I doing that? Well, let's have a look. Okay, so there we are. Okay, so it's hidden. But why? Okay, so first and foremost, the existence of an input field with the name prefixed with ATTR underscore. So an input field with a name prefixed with ATTR attribute underscore is the cue for Roll20 to create an attribute in the attributes and abilities tab matching that. Okay, and notice the skills have populated here. So if you repeat instances of that name, the same value will be applied to the visible field of that attribute. But it won't create a second version of the attribute in the attributes and abilities. So we've still only got one security clearance, and it's still set to R for red. So now, let me see. If I go from here and load the style, and we're going to create a new section of the style. So I'm creating a new section in the styles document. And just these comments are just headers for my benefit, so I know whereabouts I am. And also it allowed me to comment out whole blocks, but then bring them back in waves. So my security clearance, and this is going to be helpful if I can see the code at the same time. So I'm going to get rid of my notes. Change this one to HTML. Oh, yep, I hadn't realized I made the change there. Okay, right. So I'm editing the style, but I need to have a quick look in here. So I'm looking for. So let's go back to the inputs thing here. I looked for any instance of a trait that any instance of an input with a type text that was inside a trait. And by doing that, I was able to style each of the individual character sheets dice traits, like so. Well, what I'm going to do now is search for any instance of an input. And I'm going to use square brackets because I'm going to now look for one of the attributes inside the input tag. I'm really looking for this attribute name. So I'm specifically going to search for input name, an input with the name attribute security clearance. And if I can find an instance of that, then any style I apply will affect that or its children. But what I want to do is find any adjacent div. So so first I'm looking for an input with the name security clearance. And then I'm looking for the thing next to that, which is a div. And the thing next to that, which is a div, is sheet wrapper. And as it happens, this is going to hopefully contain everything for now. So everything anything next to the input that I've just identified that's a div, I'm not going to now try and squiggly with which div because currently there's only going to be one anyway. But within that, any instance inside that that is a sheet trait, okay? And now I'm going to start putting some styles in just on sheet traits that occur inside a div that's adjacent to the attribute security clearance. Why? Because if I do this, watch for now, right? Because I also want it to be when there's a value equals R. So I'm selecting any input that is attribute security clearance with value equals red. So that's the anchor. Basically, I'm anchoring my selection to that, and then using that anchor to find anything adjacent to it that's a div as a container. That wrapper div contains many instances of sheet trait, and I want to select all of those sheets, all of those traits in the sheet. And now we are going to change the background color, and we're going to pick red. We're going to apply it semi-transparent so it will show through to what's behind. So it's selected an RGBA, red, green, blue, alpha. Where it's high in red, 0 in the other two colours, and it has an alpha. I'm going to put that at 5. And I'm not sure if I need to make that important or not. I feel that because it's the last instance and because it's more specific, it should automatically take precedence. I'm a little excited. I'm going to sit back and look at it. Okay, so we already added the input. This is the style. And if we go here, there you go. What's the benefit here? Why is this important? Okay, so let me show you. If I duplicate, so I'm going to copy the security clearances, and I change that to orange. And then let's delete that color. And use the color picker again. Orange is somewhere down here. And I want an orange that's distinctly orange and not too yellow. And that set itself to 6, 7. I want to go to 5 again and see how that goes. Okay, so I save that. It reloads the tutorial page. Roll20 reboots. I reload my CSS. And reload the character sheet. Nothing's going to have changed. Character sheet is going to still look the same. But let's say that tutorial gets man, I hope this works first time. Let's say that tutorial mid-game gets a promotion in security clearance and goes to orange. See what happened. All of the traits automatically have changed colour to match his new security clearance. I can do the same with the background colour of the whole sheet. I can change other things too, so I'm potentially looking at later when I use dice icons, I'm going to be using it to change that. But if I change this to something that's completely nonsensical, like, I mean, you, and then change that, there is no style for that yet. So it defaults back to the grey. So if, for instance, tutorial got a demotion to infrared and has no security clearance, then we could leave that there. So let's do this. Let's do the remaining colours. So O, Y, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Right. So what colours do I need for each of those? Well, I need a yellow. There's my yellows. Oh, that's a bit of a sickly yellow there. There. Okay. Somewhere about midway. Yeah, pretty close. Change that. And then green. Well, that's going to be, I know that one. 0, 255, RGB after all. B, 0, 0, 255. Indigo, to be honest, I'm going to probably need to fake this a little bit. You can inform me of that, but I mean, it's going to be around here, isn't it? Okay. And again, change that to violet. You see, I mean, picking off the colour pick is brilliant. It lets me get the transparencies and things like that. But what's the difference here? I've gone 225 on red, and there's about half as much blue. I feel like that's not the way that it should go. But okay, so let's have a look at those. We're going to save that. That's going to reload Roll20 on the left. Reload the CSS. And load up the character sheet. So again, we had tutorial demoted to infrared. But let's run through the options. Red, orange. No, because it's uppercase. Get that right. So I could change that. I can make it so that there are 2 values that are allowed. And so I can have uppercase, lowercase if anybody's getting that wrong. Yellow. green, blue. There you go. Ooh, kind of pink. Violet. Yeah, a different kind of pink. I'm not entirely sure about that one. Let's have a look at those again. I might actually invert those. I'm not sure. We can find those colours later, Mike. Don't worry about that. But you see the point that I'm making. That I'm going to be making this character sheet change its style based on one of the fields within the character sheet. I think it's right. Well, I know it's lunchtime. So I think I'm going to take a short break, guys, and leave you kind of with that bombshell. Well, okay, bombshell may be a big word for that, but have a character sheet with your name, your main action traits, your damage traits. We'll talk about the Cortex system in detail some other time. Your specialties, they are laid out like so. We have a very nifty, if you ask me, I think it's good, a very nifty styling trick which can be applied to the character sheet. And that's about an hour's worth of coding and discussion on coding for Roll20 character sheet building using the what I'm growing to love is the sandbox feature. So yeah, okay guys, I'm going to switch off for a little bit and let you go grab some lunch or whatever time of day meal you've got coming at you. Thanks if anybody ends up watching this, and yeah, drop me a line, let me know what you think.